Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language, adult themes, and talk of death.
Woohoo! A warrior's death.
Yep.
Oh, let's see, it's
Yeah, I had the echo because on my end, I can't mute YouTube until after the stream started.
just mute the tab.
Huh?
Just mute the tab.
Yeah, I know, but it won't let me do it while it's waiting.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's Chrome. It's just the way Chrome handles it.
Opera lets me mute it beforehand.
Yep. Anyway, so yes, today is Valhalla Day to celebrate the maidens who selected which warriors would be, or I'm sorry, it's Valkyrie Day to celebrate the maidens who decided which warriors would be admitted into Valhalla.
I remember I was trying to look up as to how many Valkyries there were. There's apparently no distinct number.
There isn't a distinct number, but there are, quite a few of them in the mythology that have specific names.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all of my mythology books got destroyed when I wound up having things in storage in a shed where the roof leaked.
Damn. So I got a mythology encyclopedia over here.
Yes, I don't have anything that would have the names other than that Freya was the leader of the Valkyries, who, according to most versions, was also Odin's wife, although that varied a bit.
And here. Was she one of the? She the one that had the? Yeah, she was. She had her own little afterlife for warriors who didn't quite make it to Valhalla.
Yep.
The field of armies. Yeah,
Well, I have long said that if there is an afterlife, I am banking on my Norse ancestors to get me into Valhalla.
well,
Heaven sounds way too boring.
Fortunately, you need to die a warrior's death in battle.
See, again, I don't know if this may be a translation thing or where it comes in, but some versions of it said that anyone who dies with a weapon in their hand goes to Valhalla. And I am fully prepared to argue that with anything I am holding at the time could be used as a weapon.
Well, according to this, has a list. I have a list here. You have to be fearless, being get martyred in battle, worship Odin, be righteous, and have a funeral with many people.
Well, what exactly do you need to do to get martyred?
Warrior is not a warrior until he fights in battle. In ancient times, battle was used to occur very frequently. Anyone could go and fight, but the ones who fought with all their strength stood out not the most. In order to go to Valhalla, one must die on the battlefield. The courage must have taken the martyr to die on the battlefield is unmatched, which is why he would be a direct candidate for Valhalla.
Yeah. I don't know. I expect I could probably do that if I'm fighting for a noble cause.
Another site I was looking at said that the only criteria is to just die on the battlefield.
Ah.
Though I was a little bit iffy about that, seeing as it was saying everyone else goes to this one place, and this one actually has two separate selections. And the one place when I googled the one place they said they went to, it was actually the name of the god.
Well, I was also wondering about the whole thing of dying in battle. So if you're the company clerk and you got a paper cut requisitioning the equipment they need, does that count as dying in battle?
I don't know. Were you on the
You know, because
battlefield
I
at the
mean,
time?
it's like the warriors wouldn't get very far if they're not supplied.
I think that it would take you to Freya's afterlife.
Yep. Which I'm less familiar with exactly what that is, but as long as they don't wind up sending me to heaven. Christian heaven sounds way too much like Viking hell for me.
Hmm. Well, you want to spend all eternity kissing in God's ass?
Nope. Definitely want to avoid that. You know, but Viking hell does not have like any fire or brimstone or demons or anything like that. It is just an infinite sheet of ice that no matter how far you walk in any direction, it is still just a mindless expanse of ice. And basically, you go insane from the boredom.
Yeah.
That's what the
Cold.
Vikings thought happened to the people who weren't worthy.
Yeah. Well, the cold would get to me first.
But you're already dead, so you can't die, but you can still go insane. But to me, an eternity of mind-numbing boredom pretty much sums up Christian heaven from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So let's see who we got in the side chat here. I saw Stephanie said she had to go out and get some kerosene. And we had a couple of things from the Penguin and Greg Hartwick. Oh, Carol. Carol, how you been doing? I haven't seen much of you around for a while. Although, Greg, I agree. Earth will be a much nicer place after all the Christians are raptured.
I remember doing a little thought experiment, and idea is what if the world basically sort of split into two separate realities? And it just seemed like all the Christians got raptured, so everybody's a believer who went to one world, while all the non-believers went to the other. And to the perception of each side, it was like the other side got raptured.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, we could definitely start a new religion based on that idea. Actually, it's one of the things I used to do is I used to just make up mythologies, which actually I'm still doing to some extent. That for the novel I'm writing is on the basis that there's this galactic alliance with like 1,000 different species from around the galaxy. So I have done a lot of that. For more than a dozen different species, I've at least got a skeleton structure of what their mythology is.
Well, if you want to use that for any of your aliens, go right ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool concept. And Lisa would never have to deal with her sister again. Lisa's the main human character in the book. Yeah. So that's kind of the subplot is just her dealing with her family.
Yeah.
And Sammy.
And Molly just came over here to get pets.
Yep. I've heard him say all dogs go to heaven. Nobody ever tells you what happens to the cats.
Oh, they go to hell.
Why? They are cute and lovable and cuddly. That just doesn't fit in with the hell theme at all. Actually, I probably still have it.
They're far too rebellious. So
Well, fuck, so am I.
Well, see, and then you'll end up in hell with all your cats.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was raised by cats. That's probably where I got it from. I'm trying to find a cartoon I had that fits with this. There. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Share window. Share that window. There's a lot of share buttons you have to click to get this to work here.
Just 2. There you go. 9 lives, yeah.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, cats just have a punch card that keep getting sent back. Oh. Sammy is here. Okay, the other one's way up on the high perch.
I hear Kate recently got herself a new cat too.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
I think it was named Nuka.
Yeah, I know she had lost Columbia recently.
Yeah. It's a black cat she got.
Hi, Skits. Yeah, well, both of mine are tuxedo kitties. But at least they're pretty easy to tell apart because the new guy is completely black on top. And Sammy has a white band that goes all the way around over his shoulders. Of course, without any white on top, the new guy, when he's laying down in the dark, I can't see him because there's no contrast.
Hmm.
You know, Sammy's got the white, so I could always see something no matter how he's laying. But, yeah, I think they're trying to sort out their pecking order. That Sammy tries to be greedy and eat his treats and run over to the other one to try and get his treats too.
Yeah, that's common.
Yep. And the other guy's doing just passive aggressive things like, "Oh, no, I'm not bothering anyone. I just happen to be laying across the water dish. I mean,
Yeah.
you could probably get to it if you carefully step around me."
Yeah, I know that trick. All right. Here's Kate's new cat.
Oh. Hey.
Cute little kitty.
Yep. Can't quite tell if it's the lighting, if he's actually all black or if it's kind of a gray black.
He's all black. It's just lighting. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to hold this toy.
What'd she bring you this time?
Her crunch bone.
Yeah, I think Steph stepped out. So I think she'll be back with us later on. But
All right.
oh yeah, for anyone who wasn't aware, Deep State Station is Commander 401's new channel. We all love kitties here. I didn't even think about that. I probably should have taken some allergy meds today too. And crap, I don't have any here. They're in the bathroom.
Yeah, I woke up this morning, couldn't breathe out of one nostril, and the other one was just barely working.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm finding right now.
I didn't want to be sitting here sniffling throughout the entire show, so.
Well, things like that are why I don't care to be on camera and keep my mic muted. I don't need people to see how often I wipe my nose and things like that. There's such thing as reincarnation. I want to come back as a spoiled cat of some billionaire.
Yeah, really.
Yep. Yeah, one of those situations where when the person dies, whoever inherits the estate, there's a provision in there that they have to take care of the cat for the rest of their life.
That's no problem. It's basically what I did with my mom's cat.
Oh, I've done that with many cats, many times, friends that wound up moving into a place where they couldn't keep their animals that I've had to take them in. Now I hear some noise going on behind me there, but oh, okay. Yeah, I think Sammy kind of chased the other guy off the tower. You had suggested Ethan, which is the best suggestion anyone's giving me yet, but I still haven't decided what I'm actually going to call him. But again, with cats, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Well, they do respond to their name. Mostly, if you call their name, they will look up at you to see whether or not you've got treats.
Yep.
Oh, Stephanie's back. Okay, Steph, well, jump on in if you want. So I take it kerosene means that you're not going to freeze to death in the next week? We actually are having an actual heat wave that we've been in the mid to upper 40s now. So it actually is decent enough weather that I'll spend tomorrow doing some stuff outside.
Hmm.
Oh. Excuse me. Yeah, but again, this is just seasonally, this is not right. That for January, we should never get warm enough for it to melt in January, and now all of our snow is completely gone.
Hmm.
So this is like the kind of thing that we wouldn't expect to happen until March. Hello, Tiny Captain. You can hop in here too if you like. If you don't see the join link in one of the groups, let me know and I can send you one. I'm not sure which groups you're in on either Twitter or Discord. So apparently Sammy just went to chase the other guy off the cat tower and now he's back.
Hmm.
So, which actually, for him, it's a good thing. I was really worried. He'd always been bullied by every other cat he's been with. So my biggest fear with getting a second cat was that Sammy was just going to spend the next 2 years hiding under the bed. So I'm glad to see that he's asserting himself on a few things and at least kind of pokes at the other guy and says, "Excuse me, that's my stuff."
Hello.
Hey, Steph.
Hello, 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 hello.
How's it going for you?
It's going.
Are you getting a warm up there too?
Going. Well, it's 31 outside right now.
So it's melting
Supposed
where
to
the
get a
sun
bit of a
hits.
cold snap coming up the rest of the week, but
We're good through the weekend. I don't know what happens beyond that.
Looks like it's gonna drop down again, and by Sunday around here.
Yeah, but Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a matter of one, if you're acclimated to it, and two, if you have the equipment for it, so I do kind of understand that, like in Florida, you probably don't own any kind of heavy jacket.
Hmm.
Holy shit. It says it's up to 55 out there now.
Holy shit, that is warm.
That's definitely not right for January in Minnesota.
Yeah. Jenny's in
And
chat. Hi, Jenny. You're busy. I'm watching. Okay.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Jenny had said that she was having some issue with the ride home, so she wasn't sure what time she was going to get back here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to stay up in the 40s, like I say, right through Friday. And that doesn't let me see. Oh, okay, yeah, there's in the next. Well, actually, most of next week.
I would
too.
like that.
Just the seashore picture.
Yeah, well,
What's that? Just the roof of the boathouse?
Casco Bay. That is the roof of the lighthouse at the oldest commissioned lighthouse in the U.S. of A.
Ah.
Portland Head Light, commissioned by President George Washington.
Really?
Not only this land. Yeah. That's this is Cape Elizabeth, Maine. The entrance to the Portland Ship Channel, looking up towards Portland, which is the peninsula of land you see sticking out, with a large apartment building right on the end. And yeah, and that's a live shot. Looks like it's about high tide, maybe not too far away from high tide.
Yeah.
So Valkyrie Day, I can see. Is that a Valkyrie or is that a Berserker?
Oh, yeah, mine was a couple I had commissioned for my channel. It's actually a set of 2 Transformers that one of them becomes the Triceratops and one becomes a Viking warrior.
And
which I need some like feminized versions of them, but I can't afford to pay anyone.
And despite what people will think, Vikings did not have horns on their helmet.
Actually, I had a bit that was going to go into a video I never finished about that. Basically saying that I know that and you know that, but as long as we're hanging around with this guy, the Triceratops, horns on your head are cool.
Also, Viking wasn't a people; it was basically a career.
Yes, one went Viking. It was like.
I expect just because of the region that I probably have some Viking ancestors if you could go back that far, but unfortunately in my family history we can't trace back more than 5 generations.
Here we go, a Viking.
Yeah, and I wonder if there wasn't 1 or 2 Vikings that accessorized with horns just for the hell of it.
There is only it comes from one depiction of a that was from a mythology.
Oh, I thought it came maybe from Looney Tunes.
No,
no, actually it comes primarily from Wagner's opera.
Yes.
that was really the first thing that brought it into the public view. But yeah, I could see possibly, it may have been like a ceremonial headdress rather than a battle helmet.
Yeah, it's possible.
Gotterdammerung. The ring cycle.
And we have Pavlov's cat. Not familiar with who this is, but welcome.
Oh.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, that Freya was actually in charge of the Valkyries. So actually, more or less, she had the final say on who gets into Valhalla.
Yeah, she only went for the hot boys.
Well, she was the goddess of love.
Well, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
So,
But,
Zay, are you
the thing
familiar
I really loved about Viking mythology is that, with Valhalla, it is supposed to be like endless feasting and everything. But just to break up the monotony, for 10 days out of the year while Odin sleeps, all of the Vikings are called back into active service to fend off the frost giants until Odin awakes.
Yeah, those goddamn frost giants. They get into everything.
Yeah.
They create a huge mess.
But I mean, just to keep things from getting boring, you've got that 1 week and a half to break up the monotony every year.
Yeah. Don't want frost giants in the garden. They really kind of screw things up.
Yes, they do.
Even the frost midgets screw things up. You just bad luck. I love mythology. Mythology's got all sorts of cool characters in it.
Yeah, Freya, the goddess of love, fertility, battle, and death. Yeah, that tracks.
So basically, she is literally responsible from the cradle to the grave.
Yeah.
She's responsible for seeing who's born and seeing who dies.
Yeah. Yeah, but really, it's the
really read
Norns.
into
The
the
Norns
lore.
have it.
Sorry, what?
It's the Norns have control of everything, though. They just sort of sit at the root of the tree of Yggdrasil and take care of the whole thing.
Well, humans are managing to kill the tree of life, so.
Yeah. Well. Look at the tree.
Look at the tree. Look at all the leaves falling off. No, it's not autumn, it's spring. It's just it can't stand the acid rain anymore. I've had a lot of people who would go with you on that. Actually, it's one of the things that Christians always say about, why do atheists say, "Oh God," or that? And that's something with having sex that instead of screaming, "Oh God," I have taken to screaming, "Oh my fuckable goddess," just to pay tribute to my partner.
So you want a woman to take credit for all this fucked up stuff, huh?
Yeah, early modern English is really good for cuss words that invoke God, like swoons. God's wounds. I had a friend who used to use the phrase God's death all the time, which was rather.
Heathenism is a pretty broad concept that actually covers quite a few different mythologies.
Well, if you're the Pope, everything's heathen.
Yeah. Hey, Part of why I stayed with the pagan communities for so long was, heathenism's a lot of fun.
Just stories, great stories, better stories than the ones that are predominant in our culture, I think. Myself, I mean, I used to, when I was younger, I would read Hesiod and all the weird shit that the Greek gods got up into.
Yeah, and in pretty much any mythology outside of Christians, there's a lot of gender swapping going on.
Oh, I love the story of Uranus or Uranus. You know, the story of that particular one of the has been gods. You know, they were the gods that created the gods, and Uranus and Gaia were the first two. And Gaia was the first one, and Gaia birthed Uranus and then married him. And then the two of them gave birth to Kronos, who found a sickle and cut off his daddy's junk, threw it into the ocean, and out came Aphrodite. I mean, it's like, what? It's like, this is Hesiod. This is like, cool. You know, when you talk about let's make sure that we don't have porn in the libraries. It's like, okay, well, I guess that means you'll be banning the Bible and Hesiod and a whole bunch of stuff. The fuck you people.
Actually, in a couple of states, the Bible has been challenged under the book ban laws.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, the aliens came down, let's take me to your leader, and that's when they started conversing with the cats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, one of the interesting bits in the Norse mythology is that at one point, Loki turned himself into a woman and gave birth to Odin's 8-legged horse.
Yep, became a female horse.
That's right.
So yeah, you know, this transgender is just all just a new age thing that's only existed for the last 5 or 10 years.
Ever hear the song "Why Don't Bees Go to Heaven"?
No.
You should check that out. It's by Ronnie Williams. Pretty sure it's under copyright, so I can't exactly play it.
Yeah.
So I have this little thing here. This is something that somebody gave me once. Let me turn on my camera. Let me see.
Yeah. There was an incident way back when Mark Twain was alive that one of the libraries banned Huckleberry Finn.
Oh yeah.
And he went in to ask the librarian if they kept the Bible in their collection. And they said, of course they did. And he said, well, then I thank you for removing my works because I would not want it to be in the same collection with that.
So here's somebody gave me this back in the Stone Age. This is Gna or Gane or something. That I don't remember. Messenger to Frigga. I think it's Gane. Messenger to Frigga. In most texts, 11 handmaidens of Frigga are named. Some play important and notable roles, while others are simply mentioned by name, with no other details given. It is also possible that given names of lesser-known handmaidens may be attributes of the goddess Frigga herself, or that multiple names may be given for the same handmaiden. Either way, Frigga is known to have handmaidens that serve some very specific roles, one of which is Gné. Gné rides through the sky on her horse Hofvarpnir.
Yeah.
Hofvarpnir, delivering messages to various places and different worlds that are from Frigga. There you go.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the pronunciations for Nordic words with just English phonics.
Yeah. Okay, just pull your tongue out of your mouth and.
My reading that just goes to show that I'm not a very cunning linguist.
Well,
Sorry,
speaking
just
about
had to work that in.
I noticed Wagner is back posting. I don't know if anybody remembers him.
No, I don't know who you mean.
Wagner the Viking. He was a YouTube atheist a while back.
Oh, no. I think I need to check him out. Do you have a link for the channel?
Yeah. Let me see if I can get it real quick here.
Yeah. Interesting little trivia. That of course, when I was pagan, well, I mean, I always spent a lot of time at the Science Museum. So much so people started to think I worked there.
I don't think he does atheist stuff anymore, but he doesn't have that much on his channel anymore. It's more of just kind of a vlog thing.
Yep.
Well,
I used to.
Go ahead.
I used to feel that the Triceratops at the Science Museum in Minnesota was like my ancient kin. And it happens that they named him Fafnir after the dragon in Wagner's opera.
Yeah.
And when it was first revealed, it was actually Wagner's niece was at the ceremony and put a gold ring around the nasal horn, saying, "Finally, a crown for Fafnir."
Anyway, there's his YouTube right there. He recently had a birthday and was in a motorcycle accident.
Okay, thanks, Mage. I'll have to check that out later.
He's doing better though.
Where are we? Yeah. That thing about start seeing motorcycles, it really, too many people driving don't pay attention to anything smaller than an SUV.
Yep.
Yeah, my neighbor next door to me was in a bad motorcycle accident a long time ago, and he was in a coma for like 3 months.
Oh. Well, that's
Right. There's a little something to...
even back when I was driving my little Geo Metro, that I saw a lot of that the Geo Metro was so short that the roof line was even with the window line on a lot of the SUVs. And I constantly had people changing lanes, not even realizing I was there.
I noticed the orange cars tend to get hit a lot too. My mom had this orange colored car, and she got hit more times on that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's up with Brianna Wu, and why are we?
This is something I was going to be. I just wanted to read this art thing that she posted. I don't think I'm the only progressive with a ton of resentment and built up over a decade at the fringe online left. It's such a cancer set of tactics. Its way is anonymous. This account is acting like cops. Morally loaded language out of proportion into any issue at hand. Taking statements out of context and twisting them in dishonest way is for a dunk. An inability to provide credible sources for extraordinary claim means a total disdain for nuance. And always a ravenous appetite to hurt people, our own people of our own side. I guess on our own side. And the reputation of progressives has been destroyed accordingly. We were deeply unpopular in the party. We were seen as harassing assholes online in the way we used to critique gamers for behaving, by the way. The culture here on Twitch and YouTube is constantly documenting the hypocrisy and insanity, and it's well deserved. A decade ago, when we were more associated with policies like Medicare for all, well, there was a window for us to become the next evolution of the party, and it was utterly squandered. I'll always be a progressive because I think the policies are the right ones. Progressives are too destructive to ever be meaningful political force in America, except in the sense we are driving normal people into the arms of the right. And she has a little secondary thing. So telling that they responded with a very cancerous behavior that's making the overwhelming majority of people think they're assholes. As if your only response is criticism, is to harass and insult and personally attack. It's because you can't defend your ideas, which is kind of somewhat hypocritical coming from her, seeing as she's been noted for being responsible for much of this kind of behavior.
Yeah, I was just about to say pot kettle black, Brianna. Jesus Christ. She's gone after some pretty decent people and in not very nice ways, and hung out with some pretty awful people in rather forthright ways. And it's like, we've been talking about this, the people that like to go after the people that criticize them, and just rather than having the conversation, getting butthurt about it.
From my understanding, this is
so annoying.
From my understanding, this is apparently stemming from her getting some backlash recently. I don't know what the situation is, but
she's been tilting at all sorts of windmills with particularly within the trans community, because she's been sort of espousing some transmedicalist ideas, and people are saying, "Hey, Brianna, that's kind of weird," and she goes, "What do you mean?" It's like, well, just work with me here. Let's have a conversation. No, what do you mean? It's people like you what cause unrest. It's
so
like, Brianna.
So aside from the hypocrisy, she's correct here.
Yeah, to a certain degree, but I think that it's, if you're going to engage in discourse, you kind of need to listen to what other people are saying, even if you don't like it.
I have seen this behavior from the left, and it does annoy the hell out of me. So I mean.
Yeah, I take that. It is, I don't know. I think that in conservative circles, that they like to appear to be a monolith, or at least that they want the discourse to be a monolith. And while that is comforting, it's also thought stopping. And I think that the nature of discourse is to do some listening and do some talking. Get butter every now and again, but try to take the ideas in that people are expressing.
Yeah, the right does
No.
does blow it out of proportion. I have noticed that, but
the other problem I see is that people who identify with would like to call themselves progressive and carve out a niche will often spend more time criticizing those who criticize bad ideas more than they criticize the bad ideas, and in the process both platform and spread the bad ideas and the memes that support them. And in reference to that, I would hold up as an example the people who say that the people who criticize folks like J.K. Rowling or pick your poison. The critics are the ones who are destroying leftist cohesion or XY cohesion, XYZ cohesion, or any kind of cohesion, rather than the fact that people are spouting really shitty ideas and using their billions of dollars to make sure that those ideas are promoted in the public sphere.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts.
I remember
Stop
video,
that. You say you're an ally. Why are you going after the people that you are supposedly allied with rather than the people who are absolutely declared opponents of what you say you stand for? I don't understand that.
I remember Cirrus doing a video. Actually, he's done several videos on sort of this general little theme. And one pointing out was somebody referred to it as the infinite leftist, where there's no, you're always is not good enough value wise,
Yeah, the
purity
people
tests.
who refuse
the purity test kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. The people who refuse to vote for the Democratic candidate because he's not progressive enough.
Well, no, it's like, okay, so you're with me with X, Y, and Z. Well, you're not with me with one thing, so you're complete enemy to me.
Yep.
Yeah. See, what Brianna is really arguing for are is the politics of the possible. What can you get out of this? And her position is that if you ask for too much, that is inherently destructive to getting what you want, to getting to a first step. That's her critique. But without the people that are asking for more, you just let the entire discourse slide to the right. I think that's the pushback I'd make to that outlook. And while Brianna talks a good game, she has never, Brianna's a political operative, really, and she's never been particularly successful in the field. So that's kind of my critique of Brianna. It's like, but again, I'm not sure the usefulness of saying cancel Brianna. It's like, no, she can say whatever she wants, but she shouldn't be surprised if people disagree with her, and sitting there screaming, I've got a huge platform and nobody should disagree with me is ridiculous. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, that's a big problem we have with the left is, being too willing to cancel people for little things. And
unless,
I mean, all the shit that all the Republican senators are getting away with that, nothing's being done about them. And yet, we lost Al Franken for an off-color joke that he apologized for. The woman he did it to accepted his apology, but we still lost a great senator.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm not so much discussing Brianna Wu herself. I'm discussing what she's saying here more. It's any little thing like that. You said this 10 years ago. We're going to bring it up and attack you for it now. I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
question of nobody's perfect, really. I mean, it's
Oh, you-
just there's
Well, and
no.
also on the thing of, if you're bringing up stuff from 10 years ago, it's possible that people's opinions may have changed over the years.
Yeah, and that's kind of gets into what the right tends to call the cancel culture kind of thing. Which some people argue, oh, it's not really canceling them because they still have a voice somewhere else or whatnot. But people have lost their jobs because of this kind of thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Orla. Well, it's not absolutely true, but it's generally true. But the problem with TERFs is that is with their definition of, they adopt the proposition that all trans men are a loss, and all trans women are not a gain. It's like there's no winning there. It's they're gender essentialists, essentially.
Well-
They just, that's their position. They stake out their grounds, which is exactly the same position as the Christian right. It's exactly the same position.
Well,
Just
actually,
to be clear.
Sex is immutable and defined at birth.
that actually makes a good transition to something else I came across here.
Yep.
This thing here.
Well, just to be clear, I don't hate men, but I wouldn't want to be one.
I'm not familiar with the story. What's exactly was going on with this person getting attacked, but apparently it was from something they were playing from a year ago, and since this Joanne and Agona looks more masculine than feminine. This is a cis
Yes.
woman, by the way. They were apparently getting attacked for being trans, and even though rugby is doesn't allow trans women.
Well, World Rugby has taken that position. U.S. Rugby has not, but
Well, this is I think World Rugby, I believe.
right.
She's a player in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently she was recently being attacked because not feminine enough.
Right, and that's the problem with gender policing. It's the most of the victims, in almost every line of work or endeavor, it's the most of the victims of gender policing have been cis women, both in presentation and, for that matter, in eligibility.
Yeah, and that's basically what the bathroom bills have done, is
Right.
that most of the women getting harassed for that are cis women.
Which, by the way, the Utah's governor just signed the bathroom bill, which includes that language, that sex is immutable and observed at birth, defined at birth. And that's a problem, because the way that's going to be enforced is, and it was clarified, the way they're going to enforce it is they will investigate complaints. So somebody calls the cops on you, trans or cis, and says, there's a person I think is a man in the washroom. And the cops will show up and do whatever the cops do. It's like, what are they going to do? Cheek swab? Genital inspection?
Yeah, I'm wondering how that would go for me if I was actually challenged for it. Because my driver's license says female. But if they're going to do a genital inspection, that's not going to come out the same way.
Well, in my case, it would have to boil down to a cheek swab, and even at that, you can, there are lots and lots of examples of AIS women who were observed female at birth, or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a cheek swab, and we'll get back to you in a week. Just wait here.
Yeah,
Well, again,
I
I'm
mean,
just-
you can cool your jets in a cell while we determine what your karyotype is, and it's like, even at that, it's, what are you going to do? Here's my birth certificate. It says female on it. You can go back to the Department of Public Records in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that's the only one you'll find.
Yeah, that's one bit that I haven't finished yet, but my birth certificate's from Illinois, and I have to get the paperwork done on it, but apparently I can get the gender marker changed on my birth certificate and get the original one sealed.
Yeah. It's just all stupid. And why? I don't know why. Well, I do know why politically, why this is a big deal, because easy target, etc., and so forth. Easy way to get people riled up, but it's not creating a problem except in people's fevered brains.
No, it's mostly that the Republicans need constant distractions so people don't pay attention to what the Republicans in Congress are actually doing.
By the way, that language, sex immutable, defined at birth, was language that Trump's Department of Health and Human Services wanted to write into the Federal Register in 2018. And believe you me, if they get back in a position of power, they'll do it this time around. It didn't go through because people realized, mostly the people with the money realized that it was a rather ridiculous thing to do. But it's concerning that people are letting it go this far, and
if they're using
to step up.
If they're using the term sex, and that there's a way around that, then, since we can argue that sex and gender are separate.
Except if you're a dictatorship, you can define it however you want, true or not.
Yeah.
Florida, I don't know if you saw this story. I can pull this one up.
I think I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Florida, I'll pull up the letter that
well, it's Florida, so it's got to be a good wholesome meme.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing about it is, let me just find that effing thing.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. This is a good one.
Let me just hold on. Image.
Damn it.
No, Orla. No, just keep going. I'm sorry we haven't been able to address all.
No, go ahead. I'm just looking for this Reddit story.
And sorry you injured yourself. What happened? Orla, if you're ever comfortable, being on the microphone, you're always welcome in here.
That was my boot.
Well, whose ass did you stick it up?
Oh, yeah. I've got to have a real thing for the like knee-high boots. My biggest problem is finding ones that are actually wide enough to go up over my muscular calves. Half of them I just can't zip up.
I think you're gonna have to read that.
Yeah,
to,
well, you keep
to
ignoring
us.
that place I refer you to, so I'm not going to answer that question anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've found some good ones now, but
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to read that. But
yeah, the text
on.
is too small. You'll have to read it for us, Steph.
How's that
Besides,
looking?
we don't know
A
how to
little
read.
better?
a little bit better.
Yeah, that's all
A little
right.
better is still difficult for me.
The
Then
department
again, reading in
has
general is a little awkward.
This is from the Florida Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles Deputy Director to
Always so fun to
county
deal with.
tax collectors. Right? And so the department has undertaken a review of current practices, policies, and directives to better align the services provided by the department and its partners to our stakeholders. As if. As part of this review, the department is reviewing practices, policies, and directives to ensure all guidance provided by the department is consistent with Florida law. The department hereby rescinds the driver's license operations manual, issuance requirements, blah, 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 blah. This guidance directed personnel to issue a new license in the event the licensee wanted to alter the gender marker on his or her license. The provisions of blah, 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 blah are not supported by statutory authority under blah, 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 3022.17 FS. The department can issue a replacement license only when a license permit is lost or stolen, or when there is a subsequent change to the licensee's name, address, or restrictions. Oops.
Well, that's easy. I lost my wallet.
Furthermore, the term gender in section 322.08 FS does not refer to a person's internal sense of his or her gender or role or identification, but has historically and commonly been understood as a synonym for sex. So this is how they're getting around the point that you just raised, Mage, which is determined by innate and immutable biological and genetic characteristics. Additionally, a driver license is an identification document and, as such, serves a critical role in assisting public and private entities in correctly establishing the identity of a person presenting the license. Permitting an individual to alter his or her license to reflect an internal sense of gender role or identity, which is neither immutable nor objectively verifiable, undermines the purpose of an identification record and can frustrate the state's ability to enforce its laws. Establishing gender on a newly issued Florida driver's license is based on the supporting documents provided with an application. These documents must be sufficient to establish the identity of the applicant under Section 322.08 FS, which I assume means Florida statutes. Furthermore, misrepresenting one's gender understood as sex, again, understood as sex, on a driver's license constitutes fraud under Section 322.212 Florida statutes and subjects an offender to criminal and civil penalties, including cancellation, suspension, or revocation of his or her driver's license.
Well,
Service, integrity,
yeah, that was the funny part.
courtesy, professionalism, innovation, excellence,
Look, I've dealt with the
and equal opportunity employer. This is the part that really got me. It's like, you've got some fucking gall here, buddy. What equal opportunity? What are you talking about, Willis? Give me a break.
I've dealt with the DMV. Believe me, they're none of those things.
So, this hits really hard
Okay,
at
so
at some people. I know a woman who works for NASA, is actually sitting probably today at a console. She's involved in fire prevention on the launch pad. She's a fire prevention engineer, fire prevention specialist. That's her job. It's her dream job. And she's trans, and she lives in Florida, works at Kennedy Space Center, and she and her partner are going to have to move.
Doesn't launching a rocket actually require quite a bit of fire on the launch pad?
Yeah, but the idea is to not let it go beyond the launch pad.
Yeah,
okay,
they don't want to blow up the whole space center.
Okay, so they want to use gender and sex synonymously. So what term do they want to use for the identify a for the the identification thing?
Birth certificates.
That sense of self. Identify the sense of self. So what term do they want to use for that?
Well, you guys in the chat, if you're ever in a situation where you're talking about this stuff and somebody makes an ungodly stupid statement of, well, they're not losing any rights, you can just remind them of this, that they're basically saying that if you're trans, you can't have a driver's license unless it doesn't say who you are.
Not only that, it says that you can't just not have a driver's license. You're subject to criminal prosecution for fraud.
Well, let's remember this is the same state that said if you have a driver's license from another state but you have brown skin, they can ignore it.
Say that again, Perp.
Florida actually passed a thing that they don't have to accept driver's license from several other states.
Oh, and this is also from the state that says that you can legally run over protesters.
Well, Minnesota's no better. They wouldn't
That's
accept my
true.
Wisconsin driver's license.
When I first moved to Minnesota, I hadn't had a Michigan driver's license, and they did make me retake the test. That was way back in the 80s.
One other thing I'll point out in the realm of rhetorical hypocrisy is the railing that so many people did against identity politics. And this is an argument I made back in 2018 over the HHS thing. It's like, we're talking about identity documents here. I don't know what is more an example of identity politics than denying the actual identity of an individual citizen.
Yeah.
That's
of not allowing them to have a government document that identifies who they actually are.
Yes. It's quite annoying.
Well, like I said, I think mostly for the Republicans, it's just, they have to keep their base riled up over emotional stuff so that their base doesn't realize that they're getting them to fight against their own financial interest.
No, because they have to make the public realize, that they not let their public realize that they haven't done a fucking thing in 2 years. Yeah. Not one single thing have the Republican Congress passed or moved on to the Senate. Nothing. Oh. These fuckers are absolutely lazy, obsessed with themselves.
I'm pretty sure it's been
nothing good about a Republican.
Well, the Republicans are anti-working class, and they can't let the people who are voting for them realize that.
I mean, if you're on the chat there and you're a Republican, I don't give a fuck what you say. You're a piece of shit.
Now.
Now, Jenny, tell us how you really feel.
Okay, I will.
Well,
You're not only a piece of shit,
it-
you're a complete retrograde human being. You belong in about 10 BC. You are worthless. You wouldn't understand modernity if it slapped you in the face. And your entire family history is nothing but genetic defects, Buster. How's that?
So I took a bit of a different approach when this thing came up in 2018. Same kind of language, same kind of bullshit, only at the federal level. And I had the opportunity to speak to a friend of mine that I've known for many, many years, who is a Republican. And I brought this to his attention. And I said, listen, you've known me for, since 1979. Do you think this makes any sense at all? And said, no, it's crazy. And I said, well, do you have any pull within your party? And he said, yeah, I have quite a bit. And I said, well, tell them, do something to turn it around, because I can't, I'm not in a position to do that. And, some people did step up, but still, if you realize that this has become a key fundamental piece of what your party is about right now, and you're not doing something about it, then fuck you.
Well, and the Republicans just go back to something that, I've always said about religion is like, I know what you're against. Tell us what you're for.
That kind of goes for all parties in that respect.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Democrats are not doing a very good job with their messaging either. They're not really
but they got Taylor Swift on their side.
Yeah,
I am having such a good time watching the Republicans go absolutely batshit crazy over her. It is so fun. She's got no talent. She's just a stage play. She's just made up by the media. Okay, dude. Yeah, all right. Keep saying that.
Taylor Swift has actually not said anything that was at all partisan.
I know.
They're just piling on her because she told young people to make sure you're registered to vote. She said nothing about any party or any political candidate.
Good.
Yeah. I forget what news outlet was it that did. This was NBC News did a story on. This kind of goes to a little bit of the Brianna Wu thing, a bit. But NBC News did this story. Representative Jim Clyburn helped Biden win young black voters in 2020. This time they're not listening. And it's like, a quote out of the story is, Biden wants to talk about broadband. The students want to talk about civilian deaths in the Gaza Strip. And I think my response to that was, one source of huge frustration is the impression that your voice isn't being heard. An indication that that's the case in conversation is when your interlocutor changes the topic entirely by saying, yes, but look at this other thing you like. And that's the problem. You can't, if you're Biden, if you're the Democratic Party, you need to be able to listen and consider actually doing something. Because you're doing great things all over the place, but
you need the optics.
Here's this issue of importance, and we want to hear you say, we hear you, and we've thought of that.
People need to feel like they're getting those things that he's doing. They need to be able to feel those things in their daily lives, and they're not.
Yeah, well, one of the things I saw in a report just the other night was that, they're making a big deal about, like, inflation is coming down and that. But if you break it down, it's not coming down on the necessities. It's not affecting food and housing. The overall inflation rate is coming down because on large ticket items like furniture, stuff that you only buy, once every 10 years, the inflation rate has come down. Not on the stuff that you buy every week.
And still, talking, it's just not going up any further. It doesn't mean it's it's dropping back down to where it was or anything.
Yeah, but
we still have that.
until people start seeing a difference in their grocery bill, it doesn't mean anything to the average person.
It's like, okay,
It's things that, yeah, it's good news for Wall Street. It's not good news for working class people who can't afford to invest.
it's been like things went up 10-11% in a year or last year, but it only went up 3%. So inflation is down.
Well, 3% a year would be pretty much a normal inflation.
Yeah, that's a normal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying is down. It's
Yeah.
not that the prices are necessarily going down. So the increase isn't as high.
I think you're right, Purple. I think that's a big reason that the message, regardless of all of the things that are getting better, regardless of all of the progress that's been made, and there's been tons of it, and there's, yes, on this side of the thing, but it's difficult to say that the overall inflation rate is coming down is a net positive to the people for whom it's not seen.
I think,
which is why the people that don't see it are saying, "Well, that's bullshit. You guys are pissing on me and calling it rain," and that's why you see so many people just being completely disenchanted.
Yeah.
I think one line I tend to try and use is argue, okay, you figure you want Biden out. The only really option that you're probably going to see is Trump getting in order for some Republican getting in if Trump gets taken off the field for whatever reason. And well, how do you think they will run things? Do you think they will? Right. So your big ticket thing that you have against Biden is his whole thing with the Palestinians and all that. How do you think a Republican is going to handle that? Do you think they're going to handle it any better than what Biden's doing?
Yeah, do you think the people who are blocking aid to the Ukraine are going to handle the situation in Gaza better?
My outlook is basically, look, yeah, it's not perfect, but my choice is between a group of people who have openly declared that they desire my elimination from the public sphere entirely.
Yep. Well, that's
as
what I've been
opposed
saying.
to people that will let me get by on a couple of crumbs of bread and not threaten to throw me into total chaos and put me in a situation of invisibility and take my ability to operate in any way, shape, or form off the table.
Well, that's what I've been saying for the last 4 years, is that I'm going to have to vote for the party who will sit back and watch me die instead of the ones who are actively trying to kill me.
Which is, kind of Hobson's choice.
And that's what's getting us into people I'm expecting this is going to be almost a historical low voter turnout, I bet.
Unfortunately, we need exactly the opposite, because historically low voter turnout tends to favor Republicans. I am hoping that, and Taylor Swift certainly can have an influence on this. What we really need is that have the young people turn out in unprecedented numbers. Because they are the ones who are more likely to carry it for the Republicans.
I can almost guarantee that you're not going to get the young voters. Not the way things are going.
Oh.
The Democrats have to really, really focus on that and really do something, that like people under 30 are going to see is going to help them.
Well, I think it's going to require a sense of urgency on the part of the people that are running the campaign, and a certain urgency on the people that are potential contributors. We can be as pessimistic as, plan for the worst, hope for the best, but we need to do something while we're sitting around hoping. Hoping ain't gonna cut it.
Well, we pretty much had,
because the urgency is there. The urgency is definitely there. This is like 1933.
Yeah. Yeah, because
and what's on the horizon
Republicans
after
have made-
19? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I've been talking too much.
Yep.
Okay, Jenny, you were saying something?
We had the election pretty much sewn up. Okay, with the interest and direction of the youngest voting group. And then this Mideast crap happened. And they all decided it was time for them to prove to the world that they're as dumb as anybody in MAGA.
Yeah.
And they sucked up all the Russian propaganda and all the fake websites and all the complete bullshit and decided that they have to suck up to Hamas. Okay. Now they're saying, "Oh no, we're supporting the Palestinian people." Okay, great. I understand that. That's a good thing. But you're supporting Hamas at the same time. No, is Israel worth supporting? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you cut your own country's throat for an election that's going to determine whether or not you have any freedom tomorrow or not.
That is a bad argument.
It's the best one I got. I don't care.
It's a terrible argument. You're going to get people who will go against you with that argument.
Yeah, I know. They don't like to hear what's the truth.
And unfortunately, the part that people skip over is that the majority of the Palestinian people don't support Hamas. But they got stuck with them the same way we're going to get stuck with Trump.
I see. So you're trying to get people on your side by using an argument that's going to get them against you. But fuck it, because it's the truth.
No, I'm saying if you're going to support the Palestinian people, find a different way to do it, because you're sucking up to Hamas right now, whether you know it or not.
Well, my main argument is that the Republicans have made it clear that they want to restrict voting rights, and they have said out loud that they don't think women should have the right to vote. So are you going to vote for the party who is going to try to make sure you can never vote again?
What would be the smart thing, Jenny, that Democrats writ large and the presidential campaign could do to mitigate that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your question. It was too back and forth. Say again.
What do you think would be smart politics for the National Democratic campaign to pursue in this context?
Well, I think if I was in that situation, I would try to make it very clear to the American public that this isn't our war. Okay, somebody who we have allied with started it. When you ally with somebody, you have certain contracts and stuff that you have signed, and if you go against those on a world stage, the rest of the world's going to say, "Well, we can't fucking trust you ever." Okay, and they're going to walk away from you. So that's a real bad idea to do in terms of our world position in existence. Should we be supporting Israel? Absolutely not. I said that before. We should be pressuring Israel in every way, shape, and kind that we can to get them to shut this bullshit down and goddamn it, negotiate a twin state or a two-state answer. But you can't keep going like this. You're a bunch of damn Nazis.
Yeah, if we were seeing him pressuring them to stop, that would be probably the best thing he could do.
Well, see, they are behind the scenes, okay, but you can't just take diplomacy and put it out on the front page, or it doesn't work. People need to make these agreements quietly. It's the way diplomacy works. It always has.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing what they can. That's why they're right now negotiating about a multi-month, if not permanent, ceasefire for the hostages, because they're getting pressure put on them by not just us. The whole rest of the world is doing it too.
Well, and
but you can't do it in public.
What pressure are we putting on them for this?
Well,
we do need that.
A few billion a year that we could stop giving them. There's military support.
Yeah, this does need to be put publicly, so Biden can say, "Look, this is what I'm doing to try and stop this." It's what he needs to do.
Yes, I agree.
Well, and for the people who are supporting Hamas, there's a couple of things you need to point out to them, like who is it that took like 1,000 civilian hostages? And who is it who is attacking merchant ships trying to go through the canal? Do these sound like people who should be our allies? Major freight companies are rerouting their ships all around Africa, even though it will take them more than a week longer, just because they have considered it too risky to try and send their ships through the Suez Canal.
Okay, we know all that. What's your point?
Well, the point is, why are people backing Hamas, when Hamas is doing things that are clearly, involving a lot of innocent civilians who really have nothing to do with this conflict? Are these people you want to support?
The hypocrisy is flowing in torrents on both sides.
Yeah.
Everybody's bitching at Israel for getting citizens involved, and it's wrong. Absolutely, it's wrong. But they continue to do it, and everybody says, "Oh, Hamas, poor Hamas, poor Hamas." Oh, all those citizens, all those citizens. Well, the Hamas folks didn't exactly do a good thing to Israel either. Now, I'm not saying tit for tat is the way to go, but understand that there's no heroes in this.
Yeah, this does kind of go behind tit for tat, though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it's one of the reasons that Israel's such a fucknuts country.
Mm. They have
very little sense of limitation at all.
They're using the terrorist attack that was on them by Hamas since an excuse to commit genocide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Israel lost any chance of international support when they shelled a hospital.
Yep.
Well, there's been more than just one hospital.
Yeah, I know it's been a couple now, but I mean,
well, more than that.
it is clearly spelled out in the Geneva Convention that is a war crime.
Let's see here.
Well, anyways, we've fallen into the same rut as the kids. This isn't about Israel and Hamas. This is about our election and whether or not we're going to become a dictatorship. That's our only issue here. That's our only issue. Let those fuckers fight it out. They've been doing it for 2,000, 3,000 years. They're not going to stop now.
My only question with that is, okay, let's say that we get Democrats in this year. What about next time? Or the time after that? Do you think that just getting them in once, stopping them once is going to be enough? Or is it going to be this is a constant cycle, this constant endless cycle that we have to always deal with this, so we never actually make any actual progress?
Yeah,
yes,
well, if the Democrats want to stay in power, they need to start pushing some legislation that helps working class people.
But why should they if they don't need to? If we just have to worry about,
they need to recognize that they need to.
If the only thing they have to do is worry about being less shitty than these people that we have to be afraid of, why should they bother doing anything?
because they need to realize that that's the wrong philosophy for today, that it's changing, and they're going to have to do something for the people. Parties have to change.
Yeah, well, and people need to put,
what's the incentive of that? What's the incentive to
okay,
though?
people need to put
Power.
pressure on the
What they're always
Democrats.
about, power and money. If they lose power and money, then everybody's not happy in the little party. I don't care which one you're talking about. It's power and money.
People need to put pressure on the Democrats, and something that I'm finally hearing talked about for the first time is that people need to take the primary seriously. That, in the primaries, voting for the most progressive candidate is where you can actually send a message to the party.
And we've seen the Democrat Party actively he pushed that down and push those people that we don't want forward.
Yeah, and that's something that the Democrats have to fix. That this whole bullshit about them completely gutting the primary process is what is disenfranchising the younger voters who think they're not heard.
There is no fair and balance between the parties. They're both suck because they're both interested in power and money. But it's everything else that they're about that is going to kill or not kill us. And there is just no tit for tat for which party is better and which party has done what bad. The Republicans are nothing but bad, are only for rich people, are only for marginalized groups even more, if not, and now we know now, eradicating them by their own language. Okay, these are not there's no way you can justify in any way talking positively about the Republicans. And if you're talking about, we got to straighten out the Democratic Party, you're talking up the Republicans, because everybody hears that, doesn't hear the total picture that you're painting. They're hearing the parts that they want to hear. That, I got to hate somebody, because that's what motivates people, is their hate and their fear.
So I just shared this story that broke 4 hours ago.
Okay, what's this stuff?
What's on the screen? Scoop, State Department reviewing options for possible recognition of Palestinian state. Now, you would not be seeing this from a Republican administration. You can debate whether it's wise or not, but it's one possible thing. I mean, that's probably the most intense pressure on Israel's current government.
And this is exactly what they should be doing.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I agree. I think that's, you conduct diplomacy. Okay, we're talking about this. Now, they certainly won't recognize a Palestinian state that has any role for Hamas within it. That just ain't gonna fly. They've already, Hamas has already declared a terrorist organization, which it is.
Yeah.
I think I think this is a possible avenue, and it's playing politics, really, obviously, but it's valid. It's politics on an international scale, and
Porpoise,
it's a very.
Porpoise, never forget Trump is an aberration. You are absolutely correct. Trump is a major aberration. But you know what they say about trans people? We should just forget those people. They're such a small exception. Just forget them. They're an exception. They're not the whole thing, which is pretty much exactly what Trump is an aberration says. Okay, because that's where that argument leads to, is that, okay, well then let's just forget them.
Well, even him being an aberration, he has had a significant impact on the party as already.
Yeah,
and that's those. It's going to have long-term effects.
I'll be honest. I don't think Trump is an aberration. Trump is a.
I agree with Corp on that, because he started out as a fluke, as a scar, as a piece of shit sitting in the gutter, and he has changed to the worst person on the planet.
Trump is as much of an aberration.
If I may,
Trump is as much of an aberration as Ronald Reagan was, and we see what happened with that.
Yeah.
If I may, Trump's the guy who jumped in front of the parade. He gives the people that want to get their 10-minute hate out the opportunity to do so, and he's leading that charge.
And unfortunately,
I think
while you can say Trump is an aberration, the Republicans were perfectly willing to, get rid of Trump and replace him with DeSantis or someone else who was just equally as horrible.
If not more so.
Interesting thing from Porpoise.
Porpoise, you are wrong. The party has changed. It is not going to go back to any conservative Republican Party of the 50s or the 40s or something like that. It's permanently different. Okay,
yeah,
they're not going to be nice people ever again.
We can really only expect these parties to become more and more extreme.
I don't know if that's the case. I think that the Republican Party is in a position right at the moment where they could go the way of the Whigs and split between the focus on the social issue Nazis, the Christian nationalists led by Johnson.
Well, there is a faction in the Republican Party who realizes that Trump's policies are bad for economics and are going to cost shareholders money.
Right. That's where I was going with that. Exactly right.
That's
the fault line, and that's where the split will happen.
The one shining light with this is that we see the biggest Trump sycophant and losing a lot of the time.
Yeah, most of the people that Trump endorsed, actually everybody that Trump endorsed who was not in a solidly red district lost. The only Republicans he endorsed who won were the ones that were in his district that whoever had an R next to their name was going to win regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. You may be right. You may be wrong, Porpoise. I don't think. I think the cat's out of the bag in terms of wanting to say the quiet part out loud. I think there is a huge faction that will insist on saying the quiet part out loud and insist on doing what they're doing in state after state after state in Florida and Utah.
Well,
and
what
all
Trump
of these
did
places
for the MAGA movement,
saying the quiet part.
What Trump did for the MAGAs was telling them that it was okay to be bigoted in public. So, yeah, these people are not likely to quietly go back in the closet. They're going to continue to be bigots in public. And there's going, I do think that we're going to see the Republican Party split, because there's going to be a faction of the Republican Party who, like I say, that they're more concerned with, is this going to cost corporations money in another 4 years?
There's Porpoise is saying, I think the Republican establishment knows that Trump will destroy them.
Trump has already destroyed them, and they don't realize that. Trump destroyed them the day they made him his first nominee.
And they could have stopped him too, and they didn't.
It's the Republican establishment took the position of the German establishment in 1933. We'll let them have power. We can control them.
Yep. Well, the Republicans.
And that ain't the case. You give them power, and they'll, whether it's Trump or someone like Trump, you give that faction power, and they'll destroy you before they'll and the nation as a whole before they'll surrender power.
Yeah. Well, the
That's
problem.
my fear.
Like I was saying earlier, that the Republicans constantly need distractions so that people don't pay attention to what Congress is doing.
And
I think that was the whole thing behind Trump. They figured, okay,
he's a great distraction.
Let's put a total clown as the president, and no one will pay any attention to Congress. And I think they just got a hell of a lot more than they bargained for.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, you could see that they were trying to get somebody else there on the head of the ballot this year, but they couldn't find a way to replace Trump without disenfranchising the whole MAGA movement, which is too big a bit of their voting base.
I think they would have been better off if they had just let that chunk of their voting base get disenfranchised, and just moved on, and just let the thing heal over time.
Yeah, well, in order to do that, they would have had to resign themselves to losing the 2024 election.
Yeah, they would have lost a few elections there, but they would have recovered.
Right, but that was the problem, that they weren't willing to, give up the next election.
I think that the quintessential establishment Republican who was on the stage when the campaign began was Chris Christie, and he got destroyed. I don't think they have a candidate. I think that wing of the party has lost all kinds of influence, and what they're left with are the Mike Johnsons and the Ron DeSantises and the people that are leading the charge in the states. DeSantis got destroyed too, but DeSantis is a terrible candidate. The guy's got the personality of a dish rag.
I think Nikki Haley's still running.
But
Nikki Haley has moved up quite significantly in the polls, and I think pretty much she's the number 2 candidate now.
Yeah,
she's the only one left.
Yeah, she's the only one left, really. That's what I'm saying. I think she's still running. It's probably a good idea if she does stay in just in case, if one of the 91 charges takes Trump out, she'd be right in there then.
Well, I had always thought all along that Nikki Haley knew she couldn't get the nomination, but was figuring that if she could influence enough voters, that Trump would make her his vice president so that he could get those votes. I had thought that was her strategy all along.
Well, just think about it. If you have Trump go to prison and Biden drop dead, we'll have a Harris Haley ticket.
To tie it into the theme of the broadcast today, Purple, is Nikki Haley a Valkyrie?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd,
She's barely human.
Oh, shit. I just realized if you go with the interpretation of anyone who dies with a weapon in their hand, I don't want to go to Valhalla. It'll be full of magas.
It's my
No, I have to believe that the Norse gods have some taste.
Yeah,
I just have to.
But remember, I said it has to be an honorable death.
Yeah. Well, that's what Valkyries are for, to judge who is worthy.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are going to be honorable deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, the Republicans are a classic case of, they've got the tiger by the tail, and what's going to happen when the tiger realizes is if he stops running and turns around.
It's all the Frost Giants' fault.
Well, where the hell are the Frost Giants? I'm in Minnesota. It's supposed to be a frozen wasteland this month. Where are they?
Well, Odin promised to get rid of all the Frost Giants, and he's keeping his word.
I think this weather we're having is the new normal. And come summertime, when those temperatures are 20 to 30 degrees above normal, like they are now, we're going to have a whole bunch of people dying.
Well, yeah, I've been saying that ever since I moved back to Minnesota.
This is the beginning
You know
of the
that-
end.
Yeah,
No, this is national.
people
This is
are-
nationwide, Perp. This isn't just Minnesota.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
but I
global.
mean, no, but what I'm saying is that, people are cheering about what mild winters we're having, and they're not connecting it to the fact that the mild winters are leading to us having a drought every summer.
This is actually a more extreme winter for me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of the climate patterns have just shifted.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, if we don't have enough snow for a spring melt, the groundwater doesn't get replenished, and we don't have enough water come July.
Yeah, it's the jet stream. It's taking a big ride north from the
That's another-
southern climes over the middle of the country and then taking a big dip once it gets east.
The Alberta Clippers are missing Lake Superior, and that's what normally brings us the heavy snow.
And a little reminder, her climate is not weather, just for those who don't understand. So the overall climate has gotten hotter,
Yep.
even if there are pockets that are cooler.
Yeah,
Can I get that out there?
Yeah, I get what you mean, but
No, I'm just
it's a
pointing
bit
that out.
more. It's a bit more than an anomaly when 4 years in a row we've been a full foot below the 30-year averages for snowfall.
Well, speaking about climate, do we have any climatologists in our group?
Amanda would have been the one, I think, who was,
Yeah,
most about that, but
Yeah, I
haven't heard from her in quite a while.
Yeah, unfortunately. Should be perfect. I got something I want to go over with on my gardening channel that came up recently, and it would be really good to have a climatologist on it.
Yeah, Porpoise, I don't know. I haven't heard about any shipwrecks lately. And again, we haven't had the kind of November storms that it was famous for. That was, again, historically, most of the ships that went down in Lake Superior were the early winter storms. And if we're not getting those strong winds coming across from Canada, that's not happening. Yep. But from what I've seen, the wind patterns coming down from Canada have shifted west so that they are largely missing the Great Lakes.
Tell Buffalo that.
Well, I mean, yeah, Buffalo gets some of that every year, but
Yeah, they're 10 feet over their expectations.
oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I have not really followed Buffalo since I moved out of New York, which was another weird thing that people don't get how big New York State is. Because every time Buffalo got hit with a foot of snow, I'd get all these things from people about, are you okay? Are you going to be able to get through this? And it's like, yeah, okay, Buffalo got 10 inches of snow. Syracuse got 3 inches. We're like more than 100 miles away. It didn't affect us. It was also very confusing in New York because most of the city names got reused. So people were talking about Rochester and Buffalo, and if they didn't tell me which state they were talking about, I didn't know if these were people from the Midwest or people in New York.
There's a Buffalo County in Wisconsin, right on the Mississippi. It's just north of here.
Well, there's a Buffalo, Minnesota that's only about 40 miles from where I am now. Hey, Ember.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, not too bad. And hopefully you guys aren't getting an echo. For some reason, it's playing through my phone speaker.
What?
Not quite
No,
echoey.
not getting an echo.
Okay, cool.
I'm hearing a
sounds a
slight bit, but it's not significant. It's okay.
It sounds a little low. It sounds like you're in a tunnel, but it's
Yeah.
not really like an echoey.
It might be using the phone's microphone too instead of my headset, which is rude.
Yeah, that's okay. It's not a big deal here. So what's going on with you today?
I got out of work early and just found a man that I could pay to stab me in the head twice.
Oh, fun!
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I
Sure.
usually only stab myself in the leg. I'm not sure I'd want to do it in the head.
Oh, if I can. Versus, I don't know how to StreamYard on my phone. I'm terrible at this. I'll turn it around so you can see.
Okay.
Hey, earrings.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
you
look
got
at you.
ears.
That's nice.
Nice earrings too.
Nice.
Actually, I've been meaning to do that myself.
That's not
I
actually your.
Not actually what?
That's not actually your head, though.
Well, yes, it is.
It's part of my head.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get mine pierced. I had them pierced when I was in New York, and they grew closed the first time I took the earrings out. I just healed up too
Steve
fast.
Martin.
If I ever got
Steve
piercings,
Martin.
I'd just be my bird going after it.
Steve Martin had an arrow all the way through his head.
Well, that was kind of the image I got at first. Was like somebody with a spear, but
No, it was always so funny that he absolutely made the crowd go nuts just with that stupid ancient trick of an arrow through your head. It's like, what the fuck?
yeah.
And everybody loved it.
Then you can have maybe get Slim Dog on to actually do it.
Remember when he had
But
dark hair? Plays the banjo, so it's okay.
Oh. You know, that would be cool, you know, if I could like visit Slim Cyborg and then he could do it live on the air as part of a stream for me.
Yeah.
He probably could.
Hey,
Perp, that's an idea. Why don't you make some arrangements and then have a live piercing show?
well, you know, we'd need to have somebody who, you know, has the equipment and is trained to do it.
You could do it. You could do like a nipple. You could do a belly button.
No, you can't do a nipple on YouTube. You'll get canceled for that.
You can do belly button.
You could do a belly button.
Can't do a man's nipple.
Nope. No, we
Apparently
had
you can't do
YouTube
feet
cancel one
either.
of the shill streams for showing a man running around without a shirt.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, YouTube just sees nipples. It can't tell the difference of whether they're men's or women's.
Somebody told me that feet aren't allowed either, which is
I've
very
heard
odd.
that. I've wondered.
Yeah. Don't know.
It's like maybe Imelda Marcos runs the site or something. I don't know.
It kind of makes sense though, with all the people who are obsessed with feet pictures running around.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sinister, don't worry. That big yellow thing will go away on April 8th.
Yeah, the moon's
Yay!
gonna
Banish the shiny thing. Hey, don't forget, not only is this one of those rare eclipses that actually comes to us, but there will actually be a comet visible. The demon comet will be near the sun during the eclipse.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I don't know such a thing has ever happened in recorded history, so you do not want to miss it if you can possibly catch it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be too far north to see the total eclipse, so I doubt I'll see the comet at all.
So you can make a trip down to
We lost Jenny. She'll be back.
come
Rawr, rawr.
on over to Porpoises for the eclipse. We can sleep in her basement and avoid hotel expenses. And she said she'd feed us all, 3-course dinner.
It would be nice, but with paying off the van repairs, I don't see having money to travel for quite a while.
Oh no! Total eclipse of the heart. Oh God.
That's Terre Haute, I
Indiana.
think. Which.
Oh, okay. Apparently, Sinister has a basement like the pizza parlor.
Really? There's no basement in Indiana? Holy cow! You guys need a basement there.
Yeah, it
That's
depends
true.
where you are. The water
Indiana
table
has
may
no
be too
basement.
high. Oh, I had something I was going to say, but I got distracted.
I was thinking for places that have like in Florida where you can't really do a basement. If you could set up a basement, set up like one of those underwater or hotel kind of systems. Be expensive as fuck, but you could do
Yep.
it.
Yeah, I can change the mood a little bit here. I got some good news yesterday.
Okay.
I've been taken off of the defibrillator list because they said my heart has improved to the point that it does not require one at this time.
Oh,
Good.
cool.
It may
Okay.
later, but it does not right now.
But it's maintaining itself better?
It's actually healing itself to a degree which is highly unusual.
Good.
You're regenerating.
That is
Like
Well,
a
we're going to have
Time
you
Lord.
around longer than expected then, huh? That's good.
No, it's not. I'm sick of this place.
Jenny, if you're really that sick of it, just drive down to Alabama and scream, "I'm trans," as you walk into the bathroom.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
That would probably be the end of it right there.
You make headlines, that's for sure.
No, it wouldn't.
I just have to.
They don't care about that.
I just have to work. I have to work the Indiana's basement is Kentucky into the mix here.
Hey, Florida's open carry and stand your ground on state. You can come down here and say that.
Yeah.
I went very, very stealth when I went through Florida. I was like, nope, I'm just a regular truck driver. Praise Jesus, fuck Joe Biden. No, leave it out.
Until you got to Key West, in which case you were safe. You were in the Conch Republic.
Alas, I never made it that far. I only went to Miami on that last trip.
Miami.
Yeah, Miami's. You got to go another 180 miles to get to Key West from Miami.
Yeah, I have been wondering what's going to happen when I finally go back to Michigan to see my family. Because while the state overall is not horrible, rural counties, even in progressive states, generally not good. And I know that one isn't.
Tell me about it.
And that county's basically just full of drunks carrying guns.
Oh, nice segue. I was just going to pull up.
Oh no!
Caption. You walk into a bar and see this. How would it make you feel?
Oh, girl, that completely ruins the lines of that dress. You've got to get rid of it. You need to learn how to accessorize.
That's just
Plot
bad
twist,
accessory
it's a
right there.
purse, and plot twist, there's a handgun in the purse.
The whole open carry movement was initiated and run by men with small penises.
Plot twist, it's a trans woman.
Who are afraid of bakeries.
I mean, that's actually fair, though. A trans woman absolutely should open carry to get people to leave her the fuck alone.
Or they might just use that as justification in the shoot you.
Yeah.
Shooting I can live with. It's when people get handsy that's a problem.
Oh, by the way, I was proclaimed to be a cis woman by a bunch of trans medicalists yesterday night.
Oh?
Yeah. Those are the people who say you
Oh.
can't be trans unless you have
What is a
gender
trans
Is that a
dysphoria.
medical-
good thing?
Those are the people who say you can't be trans unless you have gender dysphoria, and that anybody who is NB is faking it and has nothing to do with trans. So, anyways, their other philosophy is that if you're trans and you have bottom surgery, you suddenly mystically get promoted to being a transsexual, not transgender.
Isn't
That one I
great?
have heard.
and because you aren't really considered transgender anymore, then you must be cis.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't make any
Okay,
logic, but that's what they say.
Such an illusion. It's so
Yeah, it is.
stupid.
I told them to piss off and shove it up their cunt. Delicious.
Yeah. One
You
more comment
next
like that, and I'll kick you in the
Tuesday.
cooch. That's the things you hear on a sailboat. Say that one more time, I'll kick you in the cooch. Oh my god.
So,
This is one of the
Coochie, what was
funniest
cool?
things.
What does they make of a non-binary person who still gets genital the fucking surgery, lower surgery?
Genital reconstruction.
I have no idea.
Because, like, if they're going to say NBs are fake and they get the surgery anyway, then, like, what do you do with that? Maybe they get promoted to intersex. Who knows? If we're just going to make shit up, why not?
It cut off the caption. That picture I just put up there says, "You like bad boys, eh?" It says, "Well, I was so bad at being a boy, I became a girl." So
That's
Hell
what
yeah,
I've been
hell
saying.
yeah.
I never understood how to be a man. I finally had to give it up altogether.
I had a guy on. I wanted to go and shoot. Fortunately, he was in England, and his whole thing was he was trying to get us to say that it's okay for him to demand that trans women, if they meet him on the street, say, "Hi, my name is blah blah, and I'm a trans woman." That you should be required to identify yourself every time you announce yourself.
Papers, please.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Ollie, man.
You know, that reminds me of the that reminds me of the statute in colonial Boston that required black folk, if they went out after sunset, to carry a lantern with them.
What?
Yeah, it was actually a colonial statute.
You can't see black people after dark, obviously, unless they smile at you.
Well, they
Hey,
didn't have
Jen.
streetlights. I suppose there's a certain element to it, but you can't really see white people either at night.
Okay, random promotion I'm throwing in the side chat here. Anyone who is really interested, Alice in Wonderland is a trans woman who did a video all about her personal experience of getting the lower surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's something you have questions on, I think that would be a good thing to watch. And she's very open about talking about it, so check out some of her other videos.
I should go listen.
She's
Help me
fun
decide
anyway.
if I'm going to get bottom surgery.
Oh, absolutely. I gained a lot of information from it anyway, hearing about the cost for one, like even with insurance.
Yeah.
Alice went to Thailand and it still cost $30,000. Well, New Zealand dollars. So, $10 US.
Well, she has certainly been helping me with, at least reducing the anxiety as I'm going through the process to, get on the list with the surgeon. Just because the more you know about it, the less nervous you'll be about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
it's
a
like
thing
I've
that
known
I've
about
been
it in
hugely
theory,
nervous
but
about.
it means so much to hear someone's personal experience.
Ember, when I was making my decisions, I kept going back and forth, and was working in my private life and in therapy to try to build my confidence that I really did know what I was doing, that I'm making the right decision, and I'm not making some horrible mistake and going to become a statistics later on, like you read in all the books that like to hate us. And I actually said to my therapist on the last time I saw her before I had surgery, she asked me something like, so how do you finally feel knowing that this is going to be happening tomorrow or the next day, whatever it was? And I said, well, I figured this way, that it can't possibly be any worse than my life has been up to this point.
Ooh.
Yep.
And I meant it.
Yep.
My sister is still trying to convince me that, I should not do anything drastic that can't be reversed, because what if I change my mind? And it's like,
for fuck's sake.
I've been injecting myself with hormones for 2.5 years. If I was going to change my mind, I think I probably would have made it up by now.
No, I've thought about it for years and years.
Exactly what you said to her.
Yeah, and and she's an RN. She has medical background, so she at least should understand the medical part of it. But
same experience as Jenny. I
Yeah.
looked at absolutely everything. And by the by, in U.S. dollars, I ran across somebody who was saying who had a recent experience in going to Suporn's clinic in Thailand, and it added up to, including travel expenses and stuff like that, around 22 grand US.
yeah, it's still medical tourism is a major industry for Thailand, and I've heard of a lot of people who have basically gone over there. That if they saved up money, that they could go and live there for a year and get all their surgeries done. And even with living there for a year, it wound up costing less than it would have to have the surgery in the U.S.
Yeah, I could totally see that. It's
Stephanie, you can say no, of course. You can say no, of course, Stephanie. But I'm just curious, what did your bottom cost?
Hang on just a sec. Hang on just 1 second.
Stephanie and I went to the same doctor. That's why I'm asking her that.
Yeah.
Let's see if you get screwed or not, huh?
It's not
Well,
too far away.
Yeah, you also need to put in context, what year it was, because.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
We'll get to that.
I'll tell you exactly.
Yep.
2002.
Okay, I've got to step away for a second. I'll still be listening.
Yeah, 2002. I have the actuals on a spreadsheet somewhere, but this is the actual schedule.
Just within 1,000 is fine.
Hang on. I'll get the actual factuals, including travel and shit. But the basic. Well,
Who's got the clock?
hang on.
It's somebody's turn signal.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm driving. You're coming with me to go get gas.
God damn it!
Really, Steph, just within 1,000 or
I
so.
hate
It
the
doesn't.
new
This
Excel.
ain't a
Just
survey.
sucks. 6,300 plus 2,000, so 8,300 plus 90, 10,000. I think, everything, all told, and including travel to beautiful Nina, was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15-ish. But the surgery schedule was, yeah. Go ahead.
And you said that's 2002?
Yeah.
Mine was 94, and it was just under 10 for everything.
Yeah. Sounds
of course,
about right.
I got to just drive to Nina, since it was the backyard.
Yeah, I flew to beautiful Nina. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't add in the
Alice in her video said that to have it done in New Zealand would have cost her 40,000 New Zealand.
Right.
And the last time I checked, the exchange rate was that a New Zealand dollar is equal to like 65 cents American. So about 2/3 of that then for what it would have been in our dollars.
Yeah, but apparently there's only one surgeon in New Zealand, and they had artistic differences.
Well, apparently they had jacked the price that they had quoted her one price, and then something like just a few weeks before the surgery, they increased the price.
That's pretty damn unethical.
Yeah, well, that was her gripe about it, and that's why at that point she and her mother decided it was just, better to take the option of going to Thailand to have it done. Personally, I don't think they should have sold for Thailand. I think they should have gone to Winland.
Well, or as Trump says, as Trump calls it, Thailand. He really does. It's on tape.
Thailand, yeah, that's good. I like it.
Carol, I'm sorry for the chewing noise, but I ran into my most favorite candy that I almost never have: Boston baked beans.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that stuff around for some time.
Yeah, that's why I bought them. They were $1, and I couldn't resist.
Yeah, I used to love those.
Well, that's one of the issues why I wouldn't consider something like Thailand, is because of the what ifs of later. I mean, honestly, I haven't heard of people having what ifs, but you got to prepare for these things. Hell, I was concerned about what ifs, and I was 150 miles away from the person I went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, my options were basically Thailand, Nina, Montreal, Toby Meltzer. Trinidad was still around, but I didn't do Trinidad. That wasn't in the mix. Meltzer was really expensive. Montreal was came down to a choice between Shrang and Menard and Suporn, and Suporn and anything in the U.S. with the exception of Meltzer was they were about the same. And Montreal was closer. I could have actually gone to Montreal, but for whatever reason, I just.
The problem with going to Montreal is that they make you memorize all the provinces, and then you sign a contract to say a boot for the rest of your life.
Actually,
yeah, that was a deal breaker.
Something that really impressed me about the Canadian healthcare system was there's a trans woman I'd been talking to online who I don't know the details, but they had anticipated there might be some complication with hers. And they decided that the doctor there wasn't going to be able to, might not be able to handle it. So the Canadian healthcare actually paid to fly her to a specialist in San Diego and paid for all the surgery in San Diego because they didn't think they had a physician on staff who was qualified to handle it.
That's pretty impressive. I knew a story of a guy who had a full-out quadruple bypass type heart attack in I think they said he was in Toronto. And of course he got involved with the Canadian medical system, and they saved his life, and he was in the hospital for a week and a half, something like this. And when he got done and he went to pay his bill, it was $28.
All right, so
and he's not a citizen.
I finally found this stupid spreadsheet with the actual factuals, and the total for Nina was $21,275.
It's amazing how much the price went up in the short time between mine and your surgery.
Yeah. Well, that's including airfare and staying in Nina and all that shit. But I was reading off Shrang's price list earlier.
Well, mine, the
best part about it was all the cheeseheads in the bar. That was the best part about the whole experience. It's like, because it was.
Did you buy a cheesehead?
It was November of 2022.
Are you into cheeseheads?
Packers.
Do you have a dairy fetish?
No, Nina's not too far from Green Bay, so.
Stephanie, you're ignoring the questions here.
I'm sorry. What,
do you have a cheese fetish?
No.
Did you get a cheesehead hat?
Hi.
I did not, no.
Oh my God.
I was just highly amused.
You completely disrespected Wisconsin.
I know.
I'm sending your name in. That's it.
No, if you want to disrespect Wisconsin, you show up wearing a Vikings jersey.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah,
actually, that doesn't matter here on the along the Mississippi, because there's so much crossover. There's people here who have a mailbox that one half is Green Bay and the other half is Vikings.
Well, I was in Wisconsin once. I did not get a cheese hat.
Oh, another one.
Well, my biggest issue with shopping for clothes is that, I love purple. And it's like most of the stuff I find, the first question is there any way to remove the Viking logo without destroying the garment? I'm going to get a purple t-shirt, and I'm going to print on the back of it, I don't give a fuck about sports, I just like purple. Because everybody keeps assuming I'm a Vikings fan.
I might be able to make you that.
I mean, you may as well be a Vikings fan at this point because, why not? They're purple. Yeah, therefore, they're the best sports team.
Yeah, but then people start talking to me about it, and they expect me to actually know the names of the players.
I know the name
Well,
of our
that's no fun.
quarterback on Green Bay. That's pretty much it. Oh, I know the coach too. I know that name. Matt something or other. Hey, Stephanie, you know those cheesehead
Yes.
hats that you chose to not buy and disrespect the entire state of Wisconsin used to be made by this company just outside of Oak Creek, Wisconsin, which is a southern county suburb of Milwaukee.
Yep.
The Packers bought the company, and so the cheeseheads are now official Packer paraphernalia.
I've been to Wisconsin 3 times.
You
Twice
missed
to
3
Nina.
opportunities to buy a cheesehead. Oh my God!
Yes.
I only
Twice
had
to
one.
Nina. Twice to Nina, and once to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I
Quite
only
a
had
bit
one.
later.
I only had one opportunity, so.
Maya, we're not talking sports. We're talking travel and things like that.
I did go to the Mall of America quite a number of times when I was up there.
Oh, that's still on my list.
I've never been
Also,
there.
the
And I
House on
never
the
will.
Rock, so that's further north.
I kind of liked Milwaukee. Milwaukee was kind of fun. I went to a U.S. sailing national meeting there, and we got to go to Pewaukee, which is the headquarters of Harkin, which is a marine hardware manufacturer, and the whole thing was pretty fun.
And the
liked it.
home of J.J. Watts, some big jock down in Texas or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I consider Wisconsin to be my buffer. You know that I've never lived in Wisconsin. I've got relatives living in every state that borders it, so that's why I'm in Minnesota. Because then Wisconsin makes it at least the 300-mile drive for any of them.
That's why I hang my head in Tennessee. I don't know. Well, the good news for me anyway is that I have a little time
Hey, Beck.
because there's that whole thing. It's a Beck. First, I got to get the hormones, and then I got to be on the hormones for a year before I can even think about finding a doctor.
Well, first you have to get a therapist. Because most doctors will require you to be seeing a therapist for 6 months to a year before they'll prescribe hormones.
I have seen a therapist before, but I lost insurance. So, well, actually, COVID happened, and then I lost insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was rough.
I don't know how friendly Tennessee is. Generally, not at all is the impression. But lots and lots of facilities have healthcare options for people that don't have insurance, where you will be charged on a sliding fee or not at all, and you can get therapy through that sort of setup, a community clinic basically.
Purple, you'd know better than I because I haven't been researching this for a while, but I'm still under the impression you still need 2 letters for a surgeon.
Right, that's one of my holdups right now, that I have a letter from my therapist, and they have to line me up with a second second mental health professional for me to get a second letter before the surgeon will schedule me.
Yeah, it used to be
I need to be evaluated by someone else.
You needed one from a psychiatrist, somebody with a doctorate.
A full-on psychiatrist
in medicine, and one from another practitioner working in the field with at least a master's degree.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now, and it's just so difficult to get scheduled with anybody who's licensed for that here.
I went in with just one letter from a psychologist and one letter from an endocrinologist, and my Colt 1911, and I got exactly what I wanted right away.
Maybe the protocols changed.
Thank you,
I don't
Ember.
know.
It
Well,
took me a second to process, but I got there.
I'm sure that since 1911, the protocol has changed.
No, I'm not even going to try to explain. It's a model number, not.
I know what you mean. I know
Oh,
what you
okay.
mean. It was a gun reference. I got that much.
And no, I don't actually own one. It's just a nice story.
Arcane conversations.
I keep that in mind, folks. You can use it if you're ever fucking with one of these Second Amendment nutcases. If they get threatening towards you and stuff, say, yeah, well, come on over. My 1911 needs a little exercise.
Yeah, Mark, actually, the insurance here is being very good about that. That they're willing to cover all the surgeries. The only thing that may be a sticking point is the hair removal, which they would not cover the facial hair removal. And again, I'm in the process of dealing with the insurance company because before they can do the bottom surgery, they require doing hair removal down there. But as it's a requirement for the surgery, I have the implications that if I hound the right people long enough, they will approve it.
I don't know. That seems odd. Because I obviously I'm by no means an expert, but I have been collecting stories from YouTube trans people, and obviously Alice still had hair because part of Alice's story is the surgeon did the hair removal as part of the skin graft process when it was off of her body,
I
so he could
heard
just
about
scrape
that.
it all off at once.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have not heard about that process before.
Okay, Ember, I just put a link in the private chat. There's apparently it's a list of services for LGBT to get therapy. You can apparently these are the best ones according to what it says, but you can maybe contact a few of them, see if maybe they can help you get in contact with someone else if you can't afford any of them.
Cool. First, I'm gonna see what my insurance covers when it kicks in. I think I've got like another 20 days, something like that.
Yeah, so maybe your insurance will cover one of these guys, or they can direct you to somebody who they will cover.
If you know the the insurance company, they probably have a customer service line that could start answering some of your questions even before it's kicking in. If you tell them you're going to be covered under this next month.
That is a good idea. If anybody had any idea what the name of our insurance company is, they do not.
Yes, that can be a problem. And even if you know the name of the insurance company, you might not get any answers if you don't have like the right group number code or something either.
I've been down that
Yeah.
road.
So I got to wait for my card to come in the mail, and then I'll know. Because all I know is that it's not a normal HMO. It's like partly employer funded, partly copay, partly actual insurance, and it's weird.
No, that's pretty typical of company funded insurance. Yeah, I am still waiting for my new insurance card with my new name on it.
I think that list I gave you is also all online therapy too. So yeah, it's online therapists. So,
yeah, that's very handy because my last therapist, she actually was by phone, which that's fine too. It was just physically getting to her office. It was just never going to work. Not with truck driver hours.
Yeah.
Well, that was for me too. When I first started my therapy, I couldn't get one locally, so I wound up having a therapist in the Twin Cities, and I was glad that during COVID that they had started doing the online therapy sessions so that I didn't have to drive into her office every week, because that would, be driving 75 miles into the dense city traffic. And I didn't need to be doing that.
Nope, nobody needs that shit.
And now it's gotten so normal that I can do most of my doctor's appointments now just as Zoom calls.
Now, if the stores would go back to being 24/7.
Yeah. But I get to do most of my doctor's appointments as Zoom calls, and then all I have to do is walk up to the clinic about half a mile up the road for them to draw blood and do the labs, and I'm all done. And that kind of stuff, I can be in and out of there in 20 minutes.
Sweet. That reminds me of another question I have. I know blood work is a necessary part of HRT. How often does blood work happen, though?
It depends on how often the particular physician or program you're working with wants. Some will go 3 months, some will go 6 months. I would expect it to be more frequently in the beginning, while they're trying to establish your proper dosage for whatever level they're shooting for, probably 200 to 300 parts. I get mine once a year.
Yeah, they're still doing mine every 3 months, but that's, I've got a considerable list of medications that they're, watching for any kind of odd interactions.
That makes sense. I was vaguely concerned that it'd have to be like weekly or something.
No.
Oh, no.
No, probably
no.
every 3 months would probably be the most often you'd have to.
Female to male, people on T have a whole different trip. They have to go much more frequently and get things drawn. Testosterone injectable or however they're taking it is very difficult to balance in the body. They can't do an actual test for how much testosterone is in your body. They have to do some kind of reference test that is an approximation of how much, and so it's just a long process. Be glad you're not involved in that crap.
With the epilepsy,
Yeah, my oldest was doing had the cream, but the problem was that insurance wasn't getting the message that they're a college student. So during some months they're in Albany and some months they're back home, and so like getting appointments for anything, that was the problem, was getting blood work appointments for the right part of the state.
with the epilepsy I had, I was getting blood work done every other week for several months.
Oh boy.
Al, this is not to be meant as any kind of attack on you whatsoever, but just a state of humankind in America today. Has anybody ever heard of somebody saying that the hospital that they're associated with is one of the worst?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always has the best hospital, the best doctor. Oh, and they drive the best, and they have the best congressperson. And it's just interesting how people view their situation versus others.
Me, I have the worst.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
a lot
well,
of
you're in
people in
Florida,
Florida
that's
say they
expected.
have the worst governor.
That's probably true. Yeah. But yeah, we actually had hospitals closed in my area. We went from 3 hospitals down to 1 because they were the worst.
I don't know, is
Yep.
Florida the worst or is Texas the worst?
I don't know.
I think
They
it's probably
constantly
a
keep-
draw. Well,
Yeah.
Texas has Baylor University, which is a very advanced place medically.
There are some bright spots in Texas, like no, totally unrelated to trans stuff, but Austin just conducted a test on universal basic income, and found that people were less homeless and less starving when they have universal basic income. I know it's a shocker,
Yeah.
but it's true.
And people tend to actually still look for work and stuff.
I was hearing about that they gave like 150 families $1,000 a month, and at the end of it, they found that more of them had more stable housing situations than their nutrition had improved.
Yeah, I've heard
And that it
several
was
times.
also good for the local economy because they spent all the money locally.
Yeah, I've heard several tests where they've been pretty successful with each one of them.
Yep, it's just kind of a fucking duh. But you know, then there's Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind
Jenny,
of
what the hell are you doing?
I was kind of so on universal basic income at first when I first heard about it, but as I learned more about it, I actually kind of fell into camp of being in favor of it.
Yeah, same here. That originally I didn't think it was a great idea, but yeah, the more I've heard, especially about these pilot projects and that, it makes a lot of sense. And in some ways, it could actually wind up saving states money because it would relieve a lot of the burden on a lot of the other social welfare programs they have to run.
Mm-hmm. Just off the top of my head, drug rehab, because homeless people are significantly more likely to become drug addicts because their life sucks.
Yep.
If you can get them into houses, and the Austin program, it was an 80% increase in housing security at a time period when regular people, were facing more housing insecurity. So it made a huge fucking difference. And like the level of savings, the emergency medical care savings, the you could just make list upon list upon list, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they saved a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, that there was something in there about the number of people who had used it for getting prescription been able to get otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that people tend to forget about how universal health care is all those extra costs that go with privatized health care where people aren't getting the health care they need. That puts them in a worse situation, so they end up paying more. So that actually reduces the cost right there.
Yeah. Well, and again, it would relieve a lot of the strain on hospital emergency rooms, because if people were getting treated when they first started having symptoms, they wouldn't wind up in emergency rooms so often.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people who are going to emergency rooms because they can't afford anything else.
Yeah, they go to emergency rooms because they're the only doctor who can't turn them away. And that's a lot of people, even if they have insurance, still have a copay that they can't cover. Like for my late fiance, with her insurance, it was still a $50 copay every time to go to the doctor. And it's like, yeah, there were a lot of months that we couldn't spare that $50 because, otherwise that just meant not having enough groceries.
Take a look at what's going on with Diana lately. She's probably thousands of dollars in for copays.
Well, Diana should just put everything on a tab. She has no children, so when she's gone, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, really.
They can't take anything more. She's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, what happens with that's actually a good point, because what happens with those kind of situations is that money actually goes back and gets paid by taxes. So people bitching, I don't want my tax money is going to someone else's medical. Well, it already is. It just happens to be you're paying more or that way than if it was a universal basic income or universal healthcare or something.
Well, when my late fiance died, her mother swooped in and took everything, because my name wasn't on anything. We weren't legally married yet. So the one tiny bright spot I had in that was every time a bill collector called, I gave him all of her mother's contact information and said, "I'm not related. Talk to her mother."
Yeah, I had some people trying to call me to collect on debts from my dad after he died, and I just ignored it, and they finally went away.
Yep. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Hail Bigfoot.
foot.
Indeed.
Fig boot.
I'd put up the graphic, but I'm in portable mode, so I don't have my buttons.
Can I push your buttons?
Oh, Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny's good at pushing buttons.
It's been a long time. I'm not picky anymore. You know,
Oh.
I will take that as a serious point. I will attest that, at least in my personal anecdote, the longer it's been since you've had a relationship and some good hot sex, the lower your standards do get. And we all know that we all have standards. So,
Yeah.
so let's not say, oh, well, you're a sexist or something, because we all have standards and we know it. But those absolutely change as you.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to say
I'll
desperate.
admit that too. That
Excuse me. I
Sorry.
don't want to say desperate, but that's really pretty much the only word that fits.
Well, you know,
I don't know.
My standards are so low; they're automatic.
well, you know, a bag over the head. It's all good.
a coyote. No, that's not a coyote.
I may be weird, but I went in the opposite direction. The longer it's been, the higher my standards get. I'm like, I'm fine on my own. If you want to get with me, you got to impress the fuck out of me.
well, see, and I'm very good at a distinction between standards for a romantic relationship and standards for just having somebody over to have sex.
Yeah.
Those are two completely different categories for me.
Ember,
yeah, that's fair.
Ember, I think we're a lot different because I am. And again, I'm being serious. I'm not being flippant about this. I'm very needy in terms of relationship. I pain and ache every night for one. And so I'm much more interested in making something happen, even if it doesn't fit criteria that I used to hold near and dear to my heart.
I get that. My top love language is physical touch, and you know, going without that it sucks.
It's
Yeah.
lethal.
Yeah.
It's like being deficient in a vitamin.
Exactly. People who are not physically involved, who do not receive touch, die younger by years.
Well,
we're social animals.
Guess I'll die.
You've got a lot of time.
Actually, what I'm finding now is that I'm less interested in sex than I used to be, but you know, cuddling is something I consider much more intimate than sex, and that's what I really miss.
I want balls out screaming and yelling and begging for God to show up. You know, it's
hanging from the chandeliers, huh?
Yep, you betcha. Get me one of those chairs that screws into the wall, the ceiling.
I've installed a number of those.
Chandeliers?
Well, maybe.
Well, chairs and other things that were made to hold a person hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, that's a little different. I was thinking of actual chandeliers. I'm like, I love shiny light fixtures. They're fucking cool.
You know, I was going to make my own. Unfortunately, this apartment, the ceilings are cast concrete beams, so I can't hang anything from the ceiling.
I don't know. There's concrete screws, right?
Yeah, I don't think that the building manager would take well to me drilling holes in the concrete.
Well, don't
you know.
ask.
Well, she said when we moved in, it was okay to drill holes up to 1/4 inch in the plaster walls. You know, so they at least were realistic about that. That you know, you can put in big screws and anchors to hang things on the walls, but
well, just tell them that you thought the ceiling was just a really stiff form of a plaster. You're not a stonemason. What do you know?
Yeah, plaster, concrete, they're related. They're almost
Yeah.
the same thing even.
Well, I don't want to push things here because I can actually see staying here a long time. And honestly, aside from places that I was the maintenance man, this is the best maintained building I've ever lived in.
Well, that says something.
So yeah, I don't want to do anything that's, going to get them grumbling about me renewing my lease in the future.
Hi, Commander.
Anxiety won't kill you, loneliness will. Yeah.
I think anxiety can do a number on you too. While anxiety itself may not affect you physiologically, it does elevate your stress level, and stress makes everything worse.
Anxiety dumps the cortisol in you like crazy.
Anxiety does affect you physically.
Yep. Anxiety and stress take very serious physical tolls on your body. Yeah.
Don't I know her?
Hey, Jasper, didn't see you there.
Jasper! Jasper joined up with the gang and Gather the other night, and so should everyone else. Because Gather is awesome.
I saw your video where you did a little thing about, the Gather and walking around in there, but I really don't know anything about it. I know that you were saying that Jay is running, Pocket Locker there is running the Gather, so.
Yep, it's the Bundy Ranch. And the links for it are on my more recent videos and all of Jay's videos. And yeah, you don't actually need to know much. Like, you make your little critter, you can wander around the town, and you can find where the group is hiding just by clicking on the other members, and there's a follow command, and it'll take your little dude right over to them. So you can join the group and just hang out, chat. Very often somebody will be playing one or more YouTube videos, and we can just all watch shit together, and it's pretty fucking cool.
Okay, how does that work as far as watching videos together?
It's a share screen thing, because it's built on a Zoom call kind of thing, except there's like a video game world you can wander around inside the Zoom call.
Yeah. Cool. So what, there'll be like, people in like different areas of the Gather that, a couple of different things going on at the same time that you can run around to?
Basically,
yeah, depending on how many people there are, yeah. Because, sometimes I'll log in and, most of the group will be hanging out in the kitchen chit-chatting, and Jay will be over on stage doing a live broadcast, and somebody else might be on one of the computers, because there's computers inside the thing, so you can do, like, online meetings and shit.
Okay, Beck just put a link to it in the side chat there.
Sweet.
The Bundy Ranch. It's a side chat for side chat. Okay. Well, it's a side chat for side chat. That pairs beautifully with this show, because I keep saying that on this show we skip the interviews and just do the after parties.
There you go.
Now, I was wondering about, if you could actually like watch movies together that way. Or if it's still a thing. Well, I didn't know if you can still get, canceled for copyright things and that.
No, because technically it's possible to record, but nobody does because we're all just hanging out and shit. But yeah, anything that you can do with a share screen, you can share inside Gather.
New way to do movie night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, one of the things I've been, wondering about was just something that I've got a lot of stuff that's just still on DVDs. And just being able to put a DVD in my computer and, be able to have other people be able to watch the same thing and comment on it while it's going.
I imagine that'd be possible. I don't know. I haven't had a computer that can play DVDs in many, many years.
Well, when I built this new computer, one of the things that was difficult for me was finding a suitable case that had an open bay on the front for a DVD player, because they'd stopped doing that with most of the cases. But
Mhm.
my computer is hooked up to my 50-inch TV, so it's also my entertainment center. So I had to
Okay.
be able to play my DVDs through the computer.
Okay,
That makes sense.
to sign up for it, it's go into that link I put, because the other one won't take you to a sign up page.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to just go and explore it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to explore. There's like worlds upon worlds stacked up in there.
Okay, a 3.5-inch floppy disk. I don't know what you would use that for anymore. Although I also did have to modify one of the front bays in mine so that it would hold the universal card reader, because I've got like a number of old digital cameras that use all of the different formats,
All the
SD and the
cards.
compact flash and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, so I needed to have one of these, like one of these things
I
that's
feel
got
that.
7 different slots in it.
I know what you can use a 3.5-inch floppy for. It's only about half of them, but half of them, the actual disc material itself, if you break off the hard case and you shine a white light through it, you'll get UV light through the material. So if you need to turn a pen light into a UV light, you can do that. Just break open a 3.5 disc and put it up against the material.
Just don't bring it into a motel with you.
Or do, because that's one reason you might want a black light in a pinch.
Does it come with a Hendrix poster?
Sadly, no. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. I'm pretty sure there used to be computer games that came on the 3.5-inch discs, and some of them came with posters. It's highly likely there's a Hendrix themed video game that may have come with a poster.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you know, if it doesn't come with a Hendrix poster and Patchouli, I'm not sure it's,
well, you put the black light into the hotel you go into, and it turns into a Jackson Pollock painting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, well, I still remember
You can
that
smash a bunch of.
when Sloth Girl came to visit me and wanted to see Niagara Falls. We just got one of those cheap $60 motels for the night, and opened the door, and everything was pink, right down to the bathtub and the toilet, and and the shag carpet, and it's like, this was the room where they filmed every porno movie in the 70s.
I had something like that happen once. I went to a concert with the kid's mom and another couple, and we afterwards the motel that I had booked for us, it was the other couple's husband person was driving. He couldn't find the fucking place, no matter how many times I gave him directions. So we ended up just going to a random motel. We walk into the room, hit the light switch, and it's red. And there's a quarter machine by the bed, and all that. And I'm like, oh, it's one of those places.
Oh yeah, this one had the little box for quarters on the bed too.
Yeah,
Adventures.
I can walk into a place like that. Just kind of take in the place for a second. Look at a person. So want to form a porno?
Hey, if you want to hire a prostitute, just make sure you have a camera running. Because paying someone for sex is illegal. Making a porno isn't.
Exactly. That's what I tell people too, because like
Fascinating.
you don't even have to like publish it. You just have to film it, and it's officially a porno, and it's legal to do.
Yep.
Frickin' Puritans, but hey, there's a loophole, so tell your friends.
Okay, well, we've been going nearly 3 hours here, so why don't we wind it up here? Anybody have anything they want to plug before we go?
Well, I know that Hunter Biden's laptops is going to be extremely active in many places. Among them, a place that I will be on Saturday, and that will be in Skeptic Haven's When Atheists Unload. And I think Jay might be the first male guest. Well, it'll be Maya and Jay and I talking about social issues and stuff in atheist space, and how that intersection works.
That's
I
fascinating.
think it should be a pretty
The show
interesting
called
conversation, I think.
Women Atheists Unload. One of your guests isn't a woman, and one of your guests isn't an atheist.
That's right. I thought it would be fascinating. And we're going to be talking about science and social issues and how the intersection all works. So yeah, and of course, let's not forget to plug Beck, of course.
Yep.
Just did an excellent job plugging himself, which is good. And let's don't forget Bad Science Sunday, of course, on Sunday, believe it or not, at 9:30 Eastern.
Oh yeah. And I'm doing my usual lead-in show on Sunday, starting at 8 over at my place. I thought we might do something a little bit different this week and do live counter-apologetics. So that should be fun. Eric Hovind released a new video that it needs to be dismantled. So that's what I'm aiming at.
Who just put
Well,
it
so
together?
does Eric Hovind, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
He's more
The
machine
only
now
time I've
than
done
man.
counter apologetics is when I miscut the hole for the sink.
I keep posting to Eric that it's such a shame that he decided to become a con man like his dad.
Yeah.
Well, he worked hard to steal that business.
Oh.
How can you
there
tell
is
him that?
such a
Look how
thing
much
as
money his
heritage.
father's made.
Oh yeah. As of last year, early last year, so I'm sure it's gone up. Eric was worth $14 million, and his dad is back up to $4 million after Eric stole everything.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not too
Jesus
surprised. Okay, Jenny, did you have anything? You want to plug your TikTok?
Yeah, when's the trans community going to start paying me money for fighting for them? Huh? No,
Mhm.
I've got nothing. I'm just a nothing person. But just staying here at home alone, waiting to pass on.
Okay, Becca's already plugging your gardening channel, Mage.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Well, thank you for that. I am working on another video, and it's been slow trying to get things going with the weather and everything going on. But I don't know, about halfway through at least with trying to get it together. I've got another one I've got planned in the works. I just got to start doing the research for it.
Yeah, well, I am unfortunately having too much to do with real life to really be trying to do anything other than the weekly shows here, so.
Yeah, I feel ya. I keep trying to squeeze in my trademark random live streams, but I need to get home from work early enough to do the damn things.
Yep. Well, so with that, we'd like to thank all of our supporters: Kitty the Atheist, Skitscrasher, Lavender Lady, Robert X, Greg Hartwick, Southern Cell, and Vonrek. I saw Vonrek in Beck's chat last weekend, which was good because I haven't seen him around a lot lately.
Cool.
So, appreciate all of you helping us keep things going. So then
Mage,
until next week.
Hold on, Mage. I just got to say one thing here. I've been holding back, but it's time to reveal and to share it with you. I just can't wait any longer.
Everybody run!
Every time I see your URL, I think it says Garden Shappen.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, well, without spaces or punctuation, a lot of channels and things get read the wrong way. That's why with mine, I went through and capitalized the first letter of each word so it reads easier. Okay, well, we'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Don't get caught.